How's it going, everybody? First proper Elden Ring video on this channel. While many players just meta hop from katana to katana and carry in retaliation parry to one-shot players, there are quite a few other completely busted tools in this game that might surprise your opponents since they're not that well known. And like you've seen in the intro, those are the ones we're looking at today. I will show you 3 different ones, and we also have a guest at the end. The first one you've been seeing all this time is the ruptured crystal tear, a component to the physics flask that, by many, is regarded as quite useless. It transforms the drinker into a ticking time bomb. While you yourself take damage, all opponents around you take quite a big hit as well. This is especially funny when facing gang squads that have learned that simply spamming moves in your face leads to success. You can get 2 of these tears and stack them in your flask. The first you can get pretty early in Leonia of the Lakes, so if you want to use them on an early level build, this is the one you can grab pretty easily. The second one is in the consecrated snowfields. Let's look at some numbers. It takes around 3 seconds from drinking the flask until it explodes. That is the time you have to position yourself properly. The damage type of the explosion is holy, which means you can increase that damage further with talismans and buffs. What's important to keep in mind here is that not all of them stack or even work. Knight's Resolve, for example, does not work. Golden Vow, on the other hand, is a good one. Whether you use the weapon art or the spell itself is up to you. Then there are a lot of conditional buffs, like if somebody's poisoned around you or bleed is occurring next to you, which you can trigger with the seppuku weapon art. Try around a little, especially with the order, but you can seriously up the damage of those cracked tears. You can do over 2000 HP of damage against unprepared opponents. It's usually not needed most of the time, and you want to be sneaky with it anyways. Spaniard made a whole compilation and he let me use some of the clips here, so go check it out. Links down below. Moving on to a new edition of consumables in Elden Ring. Perfumes have made an entry for the first time in the Souls series. They range from buffs to AoE effects and even damaging ones. In these clips here you see me using the Spark Aromatic. Since access and especially scaling of multi-element damage sources for non-caster builds isn't the greatest, these are actually an amazing option. The Spark Aromatic is a source of fire damage that does scale with your dexterity stat. Being a big AoE with the ability to also roll catch because of the ever so slightly delayed explosion makes this even more potent. And just like the cracked tear before, you have a multitude of options to further increase its damage. Time for numbers again. This is the base damage with 45 dexterity. Now we include the Perfumer's Talisman and then the Fire Scorpion Charm. Those 2 are the easiest to use when it comes to buffing. The next option is to include the Flame Shrouding Cracked Tear to your Physics Flask. It increases your fire damage by 20% and lasts 3 minutes. Invasions don't tend to last that long, so you can even buff ahead of time before even encountering your opponents. Then another option is the incantation Flame Grant Me Strength. Further increase in your fire damage, but it only lasts 30 seconds, so time it well. And for the ultimate buff, which does require a bit of practice because you most likely need to free aim it, we are looking at Oil Pots, which is another big chunk of extra damage on the next fire attack. As usual with this kind of stuff, be smart with what buffs you can get away with. You don't want to start buffing in their faces. The perfume is also a solid option against people hiding behind shields. You do not display the characteristics of a caster, so many feel safe approaching you with their shield up, only to then eat a significant chunk of fire damage. Both these previous examples were more PvP oriented, but the perfumes also provide options for PvE and team play especially. The uplifting aromatic, for example, boosts you and your allies' attacks, as well as act as a one-time damage reduction. The first hit you and your ally receive will see damage mitigation. If a friend struggles with one of the harder bosses and you want to provide additional help, this perfume can be quite an asset. Overall, since perfumes are completely new, I think many players are overlooking them a little bit. Try them out for yourself. The materials needed to craft them might limit their use a little bit, but we all know there are ways around this. And now, for our special guest, the weapon art lightning ram. For many a meme build, but this man here is living it. I'll let the man explain how to use it. Alright.
Alright.
So how do I do this?
Pretty simple. Find your L2 button once you equip the Ash of War, and keep pressing. You do not stop pressing.
Sounds about right. I think I can do that.
Mission accomplished. Ring acquired.
Alright, jokes aside, I will link to Marco's YouTube channel down below. He made the clips that went viral on Twitter and Facebook everywhere. Give the man the views he deserves instead of the folks reposting. The whole video is great. Like he said, if you repeatedly press the weapon art you keep rolling, and it's not that easy to get away from, especially since it does a significant amount of damage on each roll. You are ever so slightly faster than someone panic dodging away. What you can also try to do is use it unlocked and steer for yourself. Don't rely on the game's lock-on mechanic. The netcode is not always your friend. Once again, you can use buffs to further increase the damage. Talismans are your best bet. Lightning Scorpion Charm and Shard of Alexander being the big two. But yeah, that's it. All of these builds have a pretty straightforward setup once you understand what your gimmick is supposed to do. Let me know if you're interested in more things like that. Current plan for a new video is to do throwing pots only invasions and see how far that'll get me. There is also more to come for Elden Ring, so please subscribe and all that jazz. You've heard it hundreds of times from other content creators. For now, I hope the video was interesting. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.